Okay, hello everybody. Here is your next lesson. What we're going to talk about today is solving inequalities. Our learning target is pretty simple, and it's all about you guys solving inequalities and graphing your answers. Let's just jump right into our first example here. Example number 1. The directions read, using inverse operations, simplify the following inequality. Okay, so what we have here is we have x plus 7 is greater than 34. And you can treat this problem just like a regular equation. So there's nothing wrong with thinking of this problem like this. X plus 7 is equal to 34. So you're going to solve this no differently than the way you would solve a regular equation. I'm going to erase that because I don't want to think of that as an equal sign, but it is kind of like one. Okay, so we're going to use inverse operations. So what is the inverse of positive 7? Well, it's minus 7, negative 7. So we're going to take away 7 from both sides. That's called the property of equality. What we do to one side, we always do to the other. What happens right here? That is called the additive inverse. And the additive inverse, what that basically means is that makes 0. That cancels everything out. Okay, so the additive inverse of positive 7 is minus 7. The additive inverse of 9 is minus 9. The additive inverse of negative 3 is positive 3 or plus 3. Because those answers, if you add them or subtract them, you get 0. Okay, so what we do to one side, like I said, take away 7. We take away 7 from this side. There we have it. The 34 minus 7 is 27. Okay, so our answer is x is greater than 27. So now what we need to do is we need to graph our solution. So hopefully that made sense to you how we solve that. It's no different, like I said, it's no different than what we just did with an equation. Okay, so here is the solution right here. X is greater than 27. Here is our number line, and we're all set to graph it. Okay, and to graph this, what we're going to do is we're going to make an open point at 27. Open because it's just the plain, regular greater than sign. It's not greater than or equal to. If it was greater than or equal to, you would use a close point. And then which way do we shade it? We're going to shade it to the right, because it says greater than. Those are all the points that are greater than. You understand? Everything that's shaded, not including 27, is what x is equal to. X is equal to a lot of numbers. It's equal to 28, it's equal to 29, and 30, and 31, and so on and so forth, all the way down the line, forever. That's how you do it. This is very simple stuff. I mean, this is, if you had an easy time with equations, which I think a lot of you did, this should be no problem for you. Okay, our next example right here is we have x minus 5 is less than or equal to 13. Okay, so the first step is to look at the x side and take the additive inverse of minus 5. The additive inverse of minus 5 is plus 5. And then we're going to add 5 to both sides, because what we do to one side, we do to the other, whether it's an equation or an inequality. Well, the additive inverse, they cancel each other out, and we're left with x on that side. That's ultimately what we wanted. And then we have x is less than or equal to 18. There's your answer. When we graph this, we're going to make a nice solid point, closed point at 18, and we're going to shade it to the left because it says less than or equal to. And that part right there, you know, represents x. X is a lot of things. X is 14, it's 15, it's 16, it's 17, and it's even 18. An infinite number of numbers going to the left, getting smaller and smaller and smaller towards negative infinity. Okay, our next problem right here, we have an application problem. So what we want to do is we want to write an inequality that matches this statement. Okay, your bill for dinner plus an $8 tip was more than $40. So our bill, your bill for dinner is what we don't know. That's our unknown. So we're going to make that our letter, our variable. So I'm going to make that the letter D for dinner. And then this couldn't be more obvious. Plus obviously indicates addition, $8. So I'm just going to write 8. Don't worry about putting dollar signs down when you're writing an equality. So dinner increased by 8 was more than 40. So more than means greater than. So like that. There you go. So the dinner plus 8 was greater than 40. Now solving this is just a matter of taking the additive inverse of plus 8. The additive inverse of plus 8 is minus 8. And what we do to one side, we always do to the other. These cancel each other out. You're left with D for dinner. Is greater than whatever 40 minus 8 is. 40 minus 8 is 32. So there's your solution. D is greater than 32. D is a lot of numbers. D is 33. It's 34. It's 35 for infinity. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to graph it. And it's okay, I had an x here. I'm going to make that a D. And go ahead and put a point at 32. And we're going to do an open point because it doesn't say equal to, it just says greater than. It does not say greater than or equal to. You're going to shade it to the right because that sign stands for greater than. And these are all points. Those are all numbers that indicate values that are greater than 32. Next problem right here is you have the sum of the amount you receive for allowance and 20 is no greater than $30. Kind of just look at this and pick apart the statement. The sum, that indicates addition, so you're going to be adding. So the amount you receive for allowance, that's going to be our letter. Let's make that A. And 20, that means we're going to have a 20 in there. Now in the previous lesson we talked about what some of these phrases mean. And no greater than, you would think, means greater than, or greater than or equal to. But it doesn't. No greater than actually means less than or equal to. The sum of the amount you receive for an allowance in $20 is no greater than 30. And actually, let's use kind of a growth example right here. Let's say, for instance, during 6th grade, you grew no more or no greater than 3 inches. That means you either grew 1 inch or 2 inches or a fraction or something, or 2.5 inches or 3 inches. Yeah, but no greater than $30. So that all these numbers are 3 or less. Okay, so now let's put it all together. That means add. We're going to be adding the amount you receive for allowance. We're going to make that value A. 20 is no greater, so I'm going to put less than or equal to 30. And there you have it. Sum means plus. The amount you receive for allowance was A. That was our letter. Sum of an amount and 20 goes right there. Sorry for all the arrows there. I hope I didn't make that too confusing. No greater than means less than or equal to. And then that's our total. Now when we go ahead and solve this, let's do the additive inverse of plus 20. The additive inverse of plus 20 is minus 20. Take that away from both sides. I want to see the work. You guys better show that. Cross out those 20s because those cancel each other out, making 0. And that ultimately leaves an A. And then A is less than or equal to 10. There's your answer. A is less than or equal to 10. So your allowance was $10. It might have been, this could have been 10. This could have been 9. It could have been $6. It could have been a quarter. It just says A is less than or equal to 10. We don't know what it is. We just know that it's 10 or less. Okay, it could be a penny for all we know. So now when we graph this, we're going to put what kind of point at 10? We're going to put a close point at 10. And like I was saying in a previous lesson, make sure it's obviously closed. Right there, there's no gaps. Not hard to tell that it's all the way colored in. And it's because of this symbol right here, less than or equal to. And then which way are we going to shade it? Well, this symbol stands for less than or equal to. So points to the left of that point, numbers to the left of that point 10 is what X represents. So that's what X is right there. X is all those numbers from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 to negative infinity. In that direction forever and ever. Okay, so that does it for our lesson here. I hope everyone understood it. And please let us know if you have any questions. Make sure you guys fill out a summary, fill out good notes. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.